Beetle's the newest movie to come out on DCU for the 2020s decade, so today we're ranking all 10 theatrically released DC movies from my least favorite to my favorite.
I'm vengeance.
What's going on, guys? My name is Trevor. Welcome back to the channel. Let me know down below in the comment section your ranking of all 10 DC theatrically released movies of the 2020 decade so far. I'm not including all the animated movies because there would be like 100 on this list. Just the 10 movies to go into the theaters for DC, from the DCEU to movies like The Batman, DC League of Super Pets. We're going to include all 10 of them and rank them from my least favorite to favorite. Let me know yours down below. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content, and let's get into this. So at number 10 with ease is Wonder Woman 84. This movie came out on Christmas during 2020. I watched it at home on HBO Max and it did nothing for me. I was to the point, obviously it was Christmas Day, so I was briefly distracted, but to the point where I was just dozing off, falling asleep. Then I woke back up and Chris Pine happened to be on screen. He was brought back for no reason at all. Cheetah or Leopard, whatever it is, terrible villain. And overall, this movie just felt directionless and plotless, kind of like a lot of the DCEU movies. At number 9 is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And Shazam! Fury of the Gods is one of those movies that there's quite a bit of fun to be had, but nonetheless, this movie just felt pointless. The entire time I was watching it, I was like, this isn't going anywhere, so what exactly are we doing? I feel like this is one of those movies that could have been dumped on HBO Max. It had a theatrical release. It was okay. I like Zachary Levi. I like some of the actors and actresses throughout this movie. Rachel Zegler is fantastic. She's not in it nearly enough, but a movie you've seen countless times over and over again. Cliche villains, a cliche storyline, in a movie that truly felt like by the end of it, it went nowhere. At number 8 is The Flash, and The Flash is arguably the most overhyped movie of all time, and this is kind of a little bit of a negative start, but The Flash is one of those movies that I was incredibly disappointed by. It worked for like 2/3 of the movie, but then that third act, the movie completely fell apart, it completely crumbled, and it made me ultimately just not enjoy it whatsoever. Just a couple of decisions they made by the end of the movie felt like, again, one of those movies that was kind of a waste. And how the whole ending happened with this version's Batman, instead of set up the future of the DCU, it set up nothing in my opinion, and it was a really long movie that I enjoyed for a while, but by the end, when the third act happened, I was rolling my eyes, checking my watch, really wanting to leave the theater, and by the more I thought about this movie, the more I just didn't like it. At number 7 is Blue Beetle. Joel Maraduena is a star. I have not seen Cobra Kai, but he's a star in that apparently, and he's an absolute star as Jaime Reyes is in the DC universe for Blue Beetle. Jaime Reyes is such a lovable, likable character, just trying to do right about his family, and this movie works best when its family attributes are at the forefront. Everyone will tell you that. The family dynamic is the best part about this movie. And I have a lot more fun with this movie than the other ones on this list, but nonetheless, this is the most basic and cliche comic movie I've seen in a very, very long time. It's like there's a template on the wall at DC Studios, and they're like, you want to use that? Just fill in the blanks. It's really what they feel like they did. That's the only thing I can think of throughout this movie, that they filled in the blanks with cliche villains, cliche plot lines, cliche father figures, cliche storylines, cliche sisters, cliche everything. The movie's just a big walking cliche, and for me, I had fun, but this movie deserves so much more. This cast deserves so much more. Joel Maraduena is a star. At number 6, DC League of Super Pets. From this point on, I promise you, we're getting a lot more positive. League of Super Pets is a fun movie with a fantastic voice cast. All of our favorite iconic superheroes. Superman, voiced by John Krasinski. Got Keanu Reeves of Elite voicing Batman. So all of our iconic superheroes have their pets, and the movie focuses on that. That's awesome. I love dogs. I love my dogs. I believe they're super pets as well. A great voice cast, fun animation. Overall, it's a fun little story. Yes, we've seen it before, but nonetheless, I had a good time with this one. I was smiling, I was laughing, and by the end of it, I got all warm and fuzzy. Breaking us into the top 5, Black Adam. I was a lot bigger fan of this one than most people, and that's totally fine. Part of that is because of the Justice Society. I loved Dr. Fate, and I loved Hawkman, and I loved all these characters. Like the Atom guy, Atom Smasher, they were great. And Cyclone, what? These characters were absolutely dope. And Dwayne Johnson as Teth Adam, or Black Adam as we know him, was a great anti-hero, superhero, supervillain type guy. He was awesome. He was dope. But the Justice Society was absolutely awesome. And I think it was really kind of underutilized in their marketing and everything. That they should have been kind of the forefront throughout this movie. I would like to see a Justice Society or Max series, have you. I would like to see a Justice Society back because these characters were so awesome and cool, and Dr. Fate was so freaking dope. He, in my opinion, was a cooler version of Doctor Strange. So I love that. I love Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam, and we're probably not going to see this guy ever again. The movie didn't make all that much money, like a lot of DC movies lately, so sad to see, but nonetheless, I enjoyed Black Adam. I had fun with it, and whenever they're just playing a random Kanye West song, the whole theater was vibing, and I liked it. At number 4, Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, the longest title for probably any DC movie, but nonetheless, a fantastic and very underrated DC movie. This is one of those movies I went in really not expecting much and came out loving, and it's one of those few movies I saw in theaters during 2020, so it holds kind of that special place in my heart. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is absolutely fantastic, but my favorite part about this movie is Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask, a great villain. This movie's dark, it's gruesome, it feels like this Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino mixture all on the big screen. His practical effects and CGI is absolutely great. The Birds of Prey are freaking dope. I love this one, and I always have fun when I go back to rewatch it. At number 3, James Gunn, the man himself, The Suicide Squad. This is one of the best DC movies of all time, and I'll die on that hill. This movie is weird, it's crazy, it's not for everyone, but my goodness was it for me. Getting introduced to the character of Peacemaker just made this movie what it was. It's James Gunn at his finest. He's absolutely hilarious. He likes this raunchy comedy. He has it all in his movie. It really felt like James Gunn got to make the exact movie he wanted. He does so good with these different groups, like kind of outsider groups, puts them all on the big screen. The opening 10 minutes of this movie, they kills half the Suicide Squad. By the end, there's a giant starfish and there's rats climbing up it. It's one of the most absurd DC movies ever, but I freaking love it. At number 2, Zack Snyder's Justice League, aka the Snyder Cut. This was a time to be alive when this came out on HBO Max. I remember I woke up like at 4 a.m. or midnight or whatever to watch this movie, and I was so just enthused with it. It's a 4-hour long epic, and it's everything and more I could have wanted in this movie. I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. He's one of my favorite working directors, and to see him get his true vision of this movie put on the big screen, and just to go back after watching it and everything and all its glory they gave us, to go back and have Zack Snyder put this vision out on the screen, how much better off would DC be? How much worse off would it be? I think DC, if this went with Zack Snyder's version, didn't let the studio out of it and just let this director make the movie he wanted to make, I think this movie would have done about $800 million, and I think they would have been off with a better direction they currently are, and I think the state of DC would be a lot better off than it is. Just the way they dive deep into this world and these characters and that nightmare scene at the end. It's everything and more I wanted in a director's cut. I absolutely loved it. But at number 1 is Matt Reeves' The Batman. I believe this is the only solo DC movie to come out in the 2020s decade. And The Batman isn't just the best movie of the decade for DC. It's one of DC's best movies of all time. I put it up there with The Dark Knight and its greatness. It's taking place on a long Halloween. I cannot wait to go back and rewatch this one on Halloween. It's dark, it's gritty, it's showcasing that Batman is truly the world's greatest detective. What he really is. He's my all-time favorite superhero, so to be able to see that on the big screen, played by Robert Pattinson, who is a good Bruce Wayne, but a fantastic Batman, Commissioner Gordon, all these different characters on the big screen, how Matt Reeves put this together, it literally felt like an Oscar nom. It literally felt like this movie could have been nominated for every Oscar. Honestly, it should have, especially cinematography, that upside down shot and that car chase scenes, everything and more you could have wanted in a dark, gritty Batman movie. This movie has, and I cannot wait for the Batman 2, and it is my favorite DC movie of the decade so far. Let me know your ranking of all 10 theatrically released DC movies of the decade so far. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Appreciate all the support, and I'll see you in the next one.